Okay, so this is my lab video for the determination of acetic acid concentration in vinegar using titration lab for Chem 1412. The purpose of this experiment was to determine the molarity of acetic acid in vinegar using titration with a 1 molar solution of sodium hydroxide. And the two different vinegars I tested, one was a vinegar provided by the lab kit, and another was Hill Country Fair Extra Strength vinegar that I had in my household. So we'll get this started. Okay, so here I have my 5 milliliters of acetic acid from the provided vinegar, and I'm going to add it to the Erlenmeyer flask. And so I have my 5 milliliters of vinegar in the Erlenmeyer flask. I'm now going to add 2 drops of the color indicator. I have measured 10 milliliters of the 1 molar sodium hydroxide, and I'm going to add it to the small cup. So here I have about 9.4 milliliters of this 1 molar sodium hydroxide in the syringe, and I'm going to add it to the vinegar in 0.5 milliliter increments until I see a color change. The color change persisted for a few seconds after 0.5 milliliters of the sodium hydroxide was added. You can see on the edge here what the color change was. It was a bright fuchsia color. And here I have another 5 milliliters of vinegar, and I'm going to add the 2 drops of the color indicator. Next, I have filled some of the syringe with 1 molar sodium hydroxide, and I'm now going to add it again for the second trial into, so I'm beginning activity 2 with 5 milliliters of vinegar that I found in my home. I am now going to add the 2 drops of the color indicating solution. Now I will begin the titration using the 1 molar sodium hydroxide. Okay, I am now, after reaching the endpoint for trial 1 of activity 2, I'm now moving on to the second trial for activity 2. I forgot to mention in the first activity I repeated the same process for trial 1 and trial 2 that I did for trial 3. So for each activity I'm only going to video 2 samples just to not waste video space. Alright, so here I'm going to add the 5 milliliters of my vinegar from my house. Still on second trial for activity 2, I'm adding the 2 drops of the color indicator solution, and then I will titrate it with the 1 molar sodium hydroxide. You can see that the color is persisting after adding 1.5 milliliters of the sodium hydroxide to the solution. This was the vinegar I used for the project. So as you can see, the acidity differences here, which means that there's more acetic acid in the second trial, so that's why it took more volume and moles of the sodium hydroxide to neutralize it. I also just wanted to add that I calculated the average percent mass of acetic acid in the sample of vinegar provided in the lab kit to have 6% mass per sample of vinegar, and I found the sample of the Hill Country Fair Extra Strength vinegar to be 18.5% acetic acid in mass. Titration is often hard to tell when the exact midpoints and endpoints are, at least for me, and how long the purple fuchsia color would stick around. And so these may have caused an overestimation of the molarity of acetic acid. So that's just a little disclaimer there.